Hey, happy day. The first Prime Minister of Canada, what a contrast between him and the one that is there now. But in any event, John Macdonald, he drank a lot of whiskey and beer and kind of anything that he could put into his hand, I'm told. But in any event, one day he was confronted about his alcoholism and someone said, "You're just a drunk." And his response was, I would take a drunk conservative any day over a sober liberal. And that's kind of makes sense to me. Let me share this with you. If there is no God, then the government becomes the highest authority on earth. Whether you believe in God or not, that's not the point here. What it is that a lot of people do believe in God, and so the government has taken it upon themselves to replace God, kick him out of schools and kick him out of everywhere else, and then we're the highest authority. It's kind of interesting. Why would they do that anyway when they close churches and other things? Why? Well, it's all about control, and you need to have control. A lot of things roll into that. The left has no interest, really. I don't believe that they have any interest in transgenders, blacks, gun control, Hamas, climate change. They just employ all of those things to gain power. It's all part of their makeup, and that's what they do. And like Lenin said, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that's what it is. They go forward and back. And they're with 2 to 1, you eventually get somewhere, and we have to trip them and make sure that they don't keep walking forward like that, don't you know? Mexico. I just read some stats on Mexico the other day with regards to guns and crimes and so on. The people there aren't allowed to have guns, but of course the cartels have guns and the government has guns. So there's a lot of guns and boomity boom and bad stuff. Almost 100 people a day are murdered. 100 a day? That's like over 30,000 people a year. Wow. And then there's the politicians. Hundreds of politicians are murdered. If you run for mayor, be careful. Hundreds of them get murdered from cartels, and then the cartels, of course, put their own people in. So the cartels are, they're a semi-government, I suppose, but the numbers are startling. 100 a day? I think it's close to 100 a day. Wow. Now, I want to talk about racism. Racism. I don't like racist. I never have. Most people I know don't like racists. You should not be judged by your color. You should be judged by your actions and what you do in life. It doesn't matter if you're white or purple or green or anything else. It should not matter. Oh, there's the odd person that's racist because of color. I understand that. But, typically what I'm saying kind of stands. So then, though, you have organizations that are always funded by the government, for the most part at least, that go the other way. Look at TV stations. When I'm talking racist, I'm talking about being white. Being white and a man, wow. And if you're a Christian on top of it, good luck. Oh, and if you're a conservative, there's no hope. There's just no hope. And that's going on all the time. Television, businesses, there's no white people. There's no representation of white anymore. There hasn't been for a number of years. So what are we going to do about that? You kind of need to go with your market. But anyway, the Toronto Zoo, let me get back to something solid here. They've now announced a year-round free admission for Indians. Okay, well, if you go there for one day and take your family without parking, it's like $145 or something. And these guys get it for all year. And we don't want to hurt your feelings. We don't want to create additional barriers to non-status Indians, so there's no documentation. So a lot of Indians in Canada that claim to be or as white as I am. So theoretically, I could go there and say I'm an Indian, and they're going to give me free. So will there be abuse? Of course there will be. And why are the Indians getting free anyway? They have money. In many cases, have a lot more money than white folk because it's the white folks' money that they have. And now they have free at the zoo. Who's who in the zoo? Then you have the Business Development Bank of Canada, which is a government-ran bank, which really means it's a people-owned bank. And mostly the money in the people-owned bank are white people's money. And the Business Development Bank continues to give more money to special interest groups. They just recently announced, I think it was 150 billion or some such number, a huge number, to fund companies led by blacks, Indians, and women. I'd be surprised, though, if it was a white woman, but it doesn't say that. But no white men. White men don't apply. Racism, again, it's just awful. What's going on? To join the military, you have to be you know, you can't be white. And you fill out forms. I mean, I bought some property not long ago in California, and I think the first 40 forms were to say that I was, you know, I'm not black and I'm not Spanish. And who cares about all this stuff? Bunch of racists. I mean, Canada's got to be the worst. I mean, the prime mistake in Canada, well, if he ever drives by this sign, he will totally lose his mind. What's left of it, at least. So this is kind of cool. It's a museum in Eastern Canada that a viewer sent us. That's kind of cute. Just the other day, I had dinner with a friend of mine, Peter Pocklington, and his wife, Eva. And the four of us went out and we had dinner, and Peter owned the Edmonton Oilers for, I think, 22 years, and he had 5 Stanley Cups. And so we spoke about the hockey, and he's still a fan. He hasn't owned the team for years, but he watches the games and all this, getting ready for the Stanley Cup thing up to where he got. And it was kind of interesting to have that chat. Hey, that's all I got. That's the sports. That's blah, blah, blah. Did you get all that? Y'all come back. See ya.